Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're jumping into the awakening skills for the three Orks, Rakan, Dagan, and Thane Arg. They are all receiving the awakening first, and it's very interesting. I think it's going to make, especially Rakan, a little bit more viable, since he's never really used, so yeah, we'll go over it. I'll talk a little bit about where I think they're going to be more useful in, and we'll go from there. So starting with Rakan's basic attack, pretty straightforward. We've all seen it on most of the heroes. Ability damage is increased by 50%. So probably not one you're going to want to awaken straight away. There'll be much more important things to focus on. It's just more damage. Moving on to his second ability, Challenge. Ability damage is increased by 100%. Cast 5 stacks of a buff, reducing damage taken by 50%. So he's getting a lot more survivability, taking a lot less damage, but it is a buff. So it could be removed if versing the right teams or the wrong teams. And yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with more survivability, especially for a tank. That's their whole job, is to take damage. But with the, like I mentioned, with the amount of characters in the game that can bypass tanks, that can remove buffs, it'd be nice to see maybe an awakening that can absorb damage instead of just being more tanky. That way, you know, some of the damage is being redirected to the tank indirectly, and there's no real need to taunt. But I'm not going to complain that he's more tanky, and it actually plays into his other awakened skills. So moving on to Elemental Shield, arena debuffs are blocked for longer, so it's increased from 2 turns to 6 turns, which is fairly significant. Cast 3 stacks of a buff, reducing damage taken by 50% on all dark allies. So he's going to be able to protect his team now as well. Now this arena block is very, very interesting. For those unaware of what this actually does, this is something that affects you in raids, for example. When you get to those nodes that have bonus effects like no healing, cooldown, restriction, what other ones are there? There's a whole bunch of them. They're in the raids. They're the nodes that have the little purple aura shooting out of them. This protects you from those debuffs that are cast on you. So that is, it should be called raid debuffs, but it is what it is. So 6 turns is really good, really good. Essentially, they have made the Orks, I believe, with just like even just this ability alone, a fairly efficient raiding team. So in regular R5, I'm sure there'll be advancements in regular raids where we can use any heroes, hopefully, and this Orc team could be fairly efficient in just getting you through the nodes, protecting you, and extremely tanky as well. So I like it. I think they're giving him use in other areas other than just PvP. Moving on to his final ability, Clean Fight. If Rakan has Dark Mark or Last Chance is an awakened skill for Dagan, so we'll cover that when we get to it. He receives an unremovable provocation and his HP cannot fall below 1. So yeah, this is really good. I think this makes him a lot more valuable as a tank. He's going to have provocation that can't be removed. Enemies are going to have to tank him. He's going to take less damage. He's essentially can't die. So until that mark falls off, which I think is 2 turns. So it's very interesting, very interesting. Yeah, so again, making him much more useful in general, just as a tank, because he's just not an Orc you use on the team. I mean, very, very rarely I ever see him. I honestly haven't seen him used on an Orc team for a long time. So I think this is going to give him some use. He's more tanky, he's giving more tankiness to your allies, and he just becomes a pretty decent tank if he can't die and he has unremovable provocation. So Rakan, yeah, I think honestly all his abilities are pretty good, except the basic. I think overall pretty decent upgrade to him. Moving on to Dagan, and whew, let's go. Let's get into it. Basic additionally reduces damage to 4 random targets. So here it is. Has a 100% chance to reduce the damage output of the target and 4 random targets by 35%. So, I mean, this is probably one of the better basic upgrades. This is going from 2 random targets to 4 random targets. So, it gets the whole team. And for, yeah, 5 characters, the whole team, just should say the whole team. All enemies are going to have a 35% damage reduction. That's pretty decent. Not bad. I mean, it's better than just a 50% damage increase, that's for sure. Moving on to his second ability, Cleansing Waters. Additionally casts 8 stacks of a healing buff. One ally with the least HP is guaranteed to deal crit damage. Now, this is fairly significant. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head what the crit restrictions are with Lascari, whether she gets guaranteed crits or not. I can't remember. But more cases than not, it's going to be Lascari that has the lowest HP, simply because if a character falls, an Orc falls to an X amount of HP, that transfers over to Lascari, and Lascari's health transfers over to that character. So, more cases than not, she's going to have the lowest HP, and giving her a guaranteed crit damage is fairly significant. Additionally, does it say HP each? It doesn't say how long. Maybe it's just, it's from the way it's worded, it just sounds like it's one guaranteed crit. I mean, it's still fairly decent, especially with Lascari. When she's attacking so much, she does a lot of damage. You're not going to be disappointed that she gets a guaranteed crit. If it's any more, then that's pretty strong. But the way it's worded, it seems like it's one guaranteed crit. We'll test it in our battle reports, though. Moving to his next ability, Deal with the Abyss. A revived ally comes back from with 100% HP. Black Mark is replaced by Last Chance. So they haven't added the text here for what Last Chance does. They are aware of it, and I believe they are adding it. And it's not Black Mark. It's Black Spot. So how Black Spot works, we'll cover that first. So Orc is revived with 100% of their max HP. It was originally 50%, so that's a huge boost. And cast Black Spot debuff on them for 4 turns. Okay, so it's 4 turns. That's how long Rokan is gonna be alive for with an unremovable taunt. Oh no. When debuff ends, the hero dies and cannot be resurrected. So that's originally how Black Spot works. Now it is Last Chance. So Last Chance works, and this could be wrong. I have asked, and this is what I was told, but just wait until it is in the game officially. Last Chance works the same as Black Dot. They will have 4 turns before they perish. However, if the Orc with Black Spot kills an enemy, the Black Spot, or well, Last Chance will be removed. So they have the ability to now remove the Last Chance and not die after the 4 turns, which is, yeah, I think that's pretty big. Again, especially when if it gets on a character like Lascari or Chrome. I mean, you resurrect one of them and they're dishing out damage, they're most likely going to kill someone. They are monsters. The amount of damage they can output is huge. So having them be resurrected and then removing the Last Chance and then they're good to go is pretty insane. Now, reduces incoming damage for the resurrected Orc by 50% and for 4 turns. So that's going to be a pain if it's on Rokan, especially with his ability to decrease damage as well. 5 buffs, which increases armor by 25%. Oh my god, he's going to be an absolute menace. Increased chance of all allies to dodge, yet a resurrected Orc, or if all... Yeah, so... Yeah. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of ways this is going to be an absolute pain. Now with Rokan in the mix being unkillable, taunting for 4 turns with unremovable taunt, possibility of removing the Last Chance. We're in for some interesting new metas, I reckon. Anyway, his last ability, Under Protection. Dagan has a 100% chance to immediately come back to life with 50% of his max HP and Last Chance for 3 turns when he is killed. So, after Dagan's death, allied Orcs' HP cannot go below 1 turn 8 hits. The same goes for other... So, what is interesting here is this doesn't say can only happen once per battle. So, if he dies... And again, this is something we need to check in the battle report. But if he dies, do they get the 8 turns of invulnerability? and then he comes back to life, and then when he dies again, does it trigger again? Ah, some food for thought there, ladies and gents. Are orcs gonna be an absolute menace? Probably. They're a menace already. They But yeah, okay. So those are the two primary characters. We'll move into the leader now. What is Thane Arg getting? Because I've done a little bit of a spoiler with him, but let's go over everything in his kit now. The big boy himself, Thane Arg. What is happening to him? Damage is increased by 50%, 100% chance to reduce special ability timer. Decent basic attack. His abilities now will go down by 1 turn when you use his basic attack. Fairly significant. I mean, it would almost be worth considering upgrading, especially when you get to a point where you're going to have to just be using his basic anyway. So it's going to get your abilities back up ready to go faster than most other characters. So I think that's fairly strong. Definitely, out of all the basic abilities we've seen, I think this is the best one so far. Moving into his second ability, Chieftain's Hatchet. Damage is increased by 50%, 100% chance to cast Mockery. So Mockery is essentially a taunt. Where is it in here? Forcing them to only attack Thane Arg for 2 turns. Which, yeah, okay. Now, I forgot for a second. I'm like, well, why do you want them to attack Thane Arg? But, yeah, you do want them to attack Thane Arg. You only want them to attack Thane Arg because... is this the one? I don't know. Let's have a look. Dragon Slayer. 100% chance to deal critical damage by an ability. Ability cooldown is reduced by 1 per dead orc ally. So 100% crit chance. Skill cannot be dodged, and its debuffs cannot be blocked by Fortitude. Deals damage to one target. The chance to deal critical damage is increased by 25%. It's just 100% chance now. And now the ability cooldown is reduced for dead orcs. Okay, so that's a huge upgrade to the ability and how it works. On critical hit, it casts a debuff on the target that prevents them from regenerating HP. So you're getting a guaranteed HP health regen block off that. That's decent. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Nothing really more to say about that. Guaranteed crit will lower cooldown if orcs are dead and is going to block healing. Chieftain's Will. This is the leadership ability. If an allied orc with Black Mark or Last Chance attacked, then for every attack of this kind, all allied orcs perform a support attack on the same target. If the original attack is against all enemies, the target is chosen randomly. Oh no. Oh, so the character with let's just pretend Lascari gets Last Chance. She's resurrected, it's got Last Chance every time she attacks an allied orc. All allied orcs will perform a support attack. So it's essentially, it's so much damage. No, let's pretend it's not Lascari. Let's pretend it's Rokan the tank. And then pretend Rokan the tank attacks. And for every attack he does, he's going to get a support attack from Lascari and Chrome. Oh, the damage. Oh, what an absolute menace. Now, here comes the fun part. Here comes the fun part. This is why Mockery is going to be so strong with Thane Arg. The ban on casting debuffs is permanent and cannot be removed. So he's never going to be debuffed. Where is it? Damage taken is reduced. Yeah, deals during the first 2 turns. Thane Arg cannot be debuffed. The ban on casting debuffs is permanent and cannot be removed. So he is protected. Damage to Thane Arg is reduced by 25% per every other living orc ally. So he is just going to be undebuffable. He's not going to take any damage. He's going to cast Mockery. Not to mention that when he's the leader, he starts off by applying... what's it called? I always forget. Horror from the Deep, that debuff. Something Terror. What is it? You know, the one. We all know the one. So, oh my god. I think in terms of what he can output just from the beginning of the battle, he's probably got the best awakening skills out of all. I'm not saying Orks will be top tier. I'm not saying they will be the strongest team, but my god, they've got some decent stuff happening to them. That's for sure. We'll discover it all in the battle reports. And when this is released into the game, you're going to start seeing some crazy combos, I reckon. It's definitely going to shake up the meta. But this is mental. I think he's just become the tankiest character in the game, even surpassing Siegfried. As long as, it's more conditional though. Of course, he has to have allied orcs alive, but you're not killing an orc in the first turn. Like, he's going to go a few rounds of just being untouched. So yeah, there you go. There are the orcs. I think they did really well with the orcs. I'm sure there will be ways around it. They are very tanky, but like I said, I think they are going to skyrocket to probably the top tier team for raiding. I think this could be one of the best raiding teams in the game we've ever seen. As long as you've got all these awakened skills, it'll be very interesting to see. It's just good to focus on other areas other than just PvP. Sometimes I think this team is you're just gonna be able to press auto and sit back and just wonder what happened to the battle because it's already done. And your characters are full HP. But yeah, there you go. There are the orcs. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're around the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.